cosmic setting. This is a Galactic Shaman on a Reiki journey. Now, I've taken notes throughout my day. Anything that is in black is Reiki related. I'm going to go over my journey. So, the affirmation for today is every layer of my reality is beautiful. 5:30 woke up, did some kitchen magic. Miss Breeze was on the couch, so I stayed quiet and in the dark. 6 a.m. woke up Miss Breeze. She asked for 10 more minutes, so I didn't turn the lights on, but I did begin watering and misting the plants and their leaves, especially now that we have the new bird of paradise. It is so much fun. I literally have to go on my tippy toes to spray and have it actually touch the top leaf. I did open up the curtains though, so no, there is natural light, but no artificial lights were turned on yet. Then she finally woke up. She did ask me for her charger, which while I was in her room, I'm looking for her charger, and I did see her middle school letter to herself. You guys, I read it. I read it because I wanted to know how she felt about herself. I wanted to know the perspective of who she is. I wanted to know more about my daughter. And I was actually very excited to see what she was going to write to herself for when she enters high school. Through the words, I got to see a lot of hatred in the words about her and our relationship. It was difficult to understand because for the past few weeks, the actions and our physical life and even our emotional exchange, our energetic exchange, in my perspective, was going nice. To the point of she was hugging me, and really, I believe if you've been following me, I've been speaking about how we've been bonding more and connecting more, and to see that her mind isn't matching her physical actions was very discouraging. I didn't treat her differently after reading that. I still went about my day. I did go downstairs and cry. I cried really hard. She still views me when she was around 7 years old, and when we were in a very unbalanced family dynamic. And there's been a lot of healing from that moment, but it was difficult to be aware that my oldest still sees me in that perspective. So it did make me very confused. I remained collected throughout the morning. I did all the things that I typically would do, helped her pack her bag. It's also just a very emotionally energetic day because it's Mondays, it's transition day. They go back to their fathers. I did ask her if there's anything that we could do to make her feel more at home here. And immediately, she is very intuitive. She said, "You read my letter," which it was right there. I said, "Yes, but I've been guilt-tripped. I've been gaslighted, and I wasn't going to do that to her. I'm about solutions, and I grew up in a divorced family, and what I wish I would have had, I am practicing now." After that, it was around 6:30. I woke up sunset. She needed help getting an outfit for the day. Breeze also asked me about her outfit just because the weather has been so sporadic. So making sure they're dressed in something that was cooling because it's been so hot today. Again, continued my day as normal. I feel as though Breeze was expecting me to lash out or get angry or even vindictive. And it's like, that was a moment, and I've been in moments like that before where there was no emotions. It was just pure energy. It was just pure energy. I feel like when I speak about star beings or star seeds, and people don't understand why star beings or star seeds or aliens don't show emotions, and it's not that they don't show emotions, or even I'm autistic. It's not that autistic people don't show emotions. It's more of, this moment is past any emotion that I could express. No emotion that I could have expressed in that moment would have described the way that I'm feeling. And I'm understanding that is just pure energy. Breakfast was a laid-back breakfast. We got these new veggie Cheerios. Sunset really enjoyed them. Breeze tried them, and she said she liked them. Started up my green tea at 7 o'clock. Said our farewells. Breeze actually said goodbye to me. She said, "Goodbye, Mom." That was a first. That was a really big first. And it was really nice to hear her call me Mom and say goodbye. Because she typically doesn't say that, or she won't interact with me when she leaves. So that was really nice. I am noticing universe, specifically Pluto in retrograde, it's making sure that I am loving myself and that I'm still proud of my transformations. It was just yesterday talking about my healing and saying I am proud of the mother I am. And then to have this, I guess, curveball being sent to me on how someone else perceives me. It was interesting because past me would have broke down in tears and thought something was wrong with me and would need that external validation. Past me would have froze. Past me would not have been able to get through the morning. Past me would have literally froze in that moment. Past me wouldn't have been able to get breakfast. Past me wouldn't have been able to get my day going. It would have been I would have had a really bad autistic tantrum. And that didn't happen. I was very collective and still loving myself. I still allowed myself to cry, but I noticed the reason I was crying is because I didn't feel those external emotions of needing the validation. It was like a huge epiphany for me to realize, oh my goodness, this moment doesn't erase my healing and my transformation and my appreciation of how I parent. So I'm like, okay, universe, you're showing me how I can continue loving myself even if it's not noticed or recognized or whatever external energies are out there. After that, I put my sacred clothes on. I also realized I slept with my labradorite scarab necklace. I never sleep with necklaces on. So that was different. Then I also noticed Sunset left her water bottle, and Breeze left her donuts for her friends and classmates. So Elam came back to get those. I then got ready for a walk. I also recently learned to have a longer walk, so it's beneficial, at least 30 minutes. We took a completely different route, and the boys absolutely loved it. 8 o'clock, I spoke with my best friend. She's very supportive and understanding. I appreciate her. I do not have very many friends, but I do look for quality over quantity. I also caught up with my mom. They gave me a lot of information and reciprocated energy to reflect on. Elam also FaceTimed me, so I was getting a lot of support from very close people in my energetic and spiritual and physical circle. Very healing conversations. I also realized that this was such a pivotal moment of tapping into that pure energy. Oof. And it allowed me to be more authentic with myself. A few years ago, I did realize that I was placing so much energy and value. I was placing my value into my children. And that's where I became disconnected with myself. So it was nice to gather my own personal energy and not require that external validation. 9:20, had more green tea. Let's see here. Also had to create the weekly availability. This week is a bit different than typical. Usually I have virtual availability Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, but I work Tuesday and Wednesday shifts at the Crystal Shop in Divine Lights. I'm super excited. This is a schedule switch up. I had more green tea with a fresh lemon. Scheduled at content, 9:30, I open circle. I felt Andromedan energy all around me. Then I recited the Reiki principles and affirmations. I felt the bird of paradise leaves surround me and hold me while I was doing the hand positions for the chakras, for the Reiki self-healing. I was also shown to incorporate the hand positions in my Galactic grimoire, and I began doing that. As I was gluing items into my Galactic grimoire, I was shown by Spirit how to put my cosmic shamanic techniques in there as well. I am a Galactic shamanic practitioner, so I've been initiated in cosmic shamanism, astral shamanism, celestial shamanism, and galactic shamanism. They're just different levels and dimensions of working with energy. And Spirit was showing me how to place them in my Galactic grimoire, just so I have it available, and I'm very excited to do that. 10:10, I lit the candles. I noticed, this was really cool. So I read candles, candle energy, the wax, the positioning, everything. And I noticed the earth candle still had a candle remaining, which it was burning all day. So that was odd, but showing me that there are some physical actions required to perceive today, which I would definitely say so. And the fire candle, which is also connected with my ancestors, that one was still remaining. When I lit the ancestor one, it's in a shell, and I kid you not, it shifted. It moved, so I couldn't see it. So it felt very like it needed space on its own. But then I also received a message to pray for Miss Breeze because it's closest to her room. And I remember it felt like it went so fast, but time went by, and I remember just being in front of her door and praying to the universe, and I could feel our ancestors assisting in praying for her. And it was just like a wash of energy that I hadn't felt in a very long time. 10:20, I got ready for the Angelic Flame Purification reading. This was interesting. Archangel Gabriel came in. I've never channeled an archangel besides my personal archangel Metatron, so it was interesting to channel a 7th dimensional angelic being and not one above. Archangel Gabriel spoke about discipline, vows, expressing the self, combination of the past and the present, self equaling the future. So it was really showing about the accumulation of the way you express yourself. So you aren't only the person that's right here, and you aren't only the person that's in the past, and the person you are gathering towards is a combination of the two. Also spoke about the diamond path, had more green tea. 11 did the moon meditation. So Mondays I provide lunar transitions and lunar phases, as well as a channeled guided meditation by a star being, and this month it is the Arcturians. This moon meditation is called Portal to Creations. Spoke about challenges are never created to deter you from your blessings, but to show you your natural abilities to acquire those blessings. I brought in shungite, pyrite, and then I brought in my big bowl that has all of my shamanic crystals. Let's see here. It was really cool. So being in my mother's womb was part of the journey. And I could also see that Jaguar Spirit was there with me. The Arcturian beings felt absolutely amazing. And when I was in my mother's womb, I felt immense disappointment and like a lot of letdowns. I feel like when my mother was pregnant with me, there was so much disappointment and letdowns around her. But I also looked into the energy that I create with most frequently, and it is from sadness and disappointment. So it was neat to see the correlation. But that energy went into my left hand, and it felt like damp jelly. So it was different. And then to the side of me, I got to see a diamond white dragon and I believe that had to do with Archangel Gabriel. And it helped me see my personal power, and I was able to gather my personal power and self-love, and it turned into this metal silver sphere that was in this hand. And then I noticed the crystals and the plant and jaguar spirit began to help me put these two energies together, plus place boundaries, healthy boundaries around these two energies, and molded them. And then I felt it go into my heart, and it poofed whatever wall that was up in my heart. And it just felt so stunning. And it showed me that I'm here to show purpose of self-love and authenticity. Let's see here. So then I scheduled the Angelic Flame subscription on my social success. While I was looking for my yoga channel, I saw my favorite channeler had advice about the calm after the storm. Let's see here. Oh, and that angelic subscription was about the white flame purification. So I do provide 4 different angelic flame subscriptions. The white flame is heavily geared towards daily affirmations for a whole month. And I was just describing how it helps reduce stress, which I can say for myself, it is very helpful. Then yoga, we're on day 14 of that specific yoga. It was called Project from the Heart. Oh, excuse me. I use the same crystals as the meditation and also the Ganesh incense. During that, I felt my aura be cleansed of a timeline of losing custody of my daughters. That was a very big fear that I have carried for a very long time. I saw the pure energy of my relationships with my mother, my relationships with my father, my relationship with my stepmother, my relationship with my siblings, my relationship during the divorce, a lot of distortions within those relationships. I got to really see them dissipate and turn into this pure energy of love. Let's see. And then I was shown how to celebrate Mother's Day this weekend. I saw that I could have a different reality. My parents, this was something that I have subconsciously known, but I've never said it out loud or consciously became aware of it. But my parents never left me. My parents may have been very busy with their careers, and they gave me space, but they have never left me. They have always been there for me and been very important pillars in my life. They're not the typical I call you every single day type of parent or relationship, but they've been the main ones to be there for me during happy times, during challenging times, and not ask questions that would invalidate how I am feeling or being. And I also saw how my dad has always been a spiritual pillar for me. So I more so relate with my mom because she's a female, and there's a lot of ancestral correlations. But my father, I never exactly noticed how much he was actually there for me, and it was really beautiful to notice that alongside my stepmother. I messaged them how much I appreciated them because I don't have a lot of family that not only is aware of me, because I feel very invisible to a lot of my blood family, but accepts me. There's barely any of my blood family that is accepting of me and the way I am. So to have parents that are so radically acceptive of my spirituality, my business, my personality, my neurodivergency, I'm seeing now that that's the quality that I've been needing to be consciously aware of. I also questioned when I was 11 going on 12, I lived with my oldest sister. And I began questioning, how did my parents do it? How did my parents give me that much space and allow me to understand life without them? And it's not that I hated or disliked either of my parents, it's that I could not come to terms with choosing either of them. And my oldest sister did not like change. Back then, she still thought that our parents had a chance together, and I knew that was not reality. So she swooped in because there's too much change happening, and it was just interesting. It was interesting to see the correlation. It was interesting to see how my healing, how my life would have turned out so differently. During challenging and difficult times with abusive relationships, my PTSD, coming into my neurodivergency and being diagnosed later in life, my mom, my dad, and my stepmother were always there for me. And I'm so grateful for that. And I not only hope they know this, but I am wise enough to make sure that they are aware of how I feel. And I pictured staying with my father. I knew my mother was on her healing journey. She needed that. She was on her healing journey. And if I would have stayed with my father, my life would have been completely different. I don't believe I would have gotten pregnant at 16, which I wouldn't have had my oldest. Back then, I had gotten into I was hit by a car while I was on a skateboard. And it was that surgery that I was told I could not conceive. So I went throughout life not planning for kids, not expecting to have or bear children. And then all of a sudden, I was pregnant at 16 with Miss Breeze. So it's an interesting cycle to see, to notice, to even be on the other end. Now I have my own teenager with this perception of wanting to choose one parent over the other through this divorce. And it's just interesting because of how transforming and how that can direct someone's life. Just one decision at a time, how it can direct a journey, physically, spiritually, energetically, emotionally. I feel better understood and more grateful for every moment now, having those perspectives in mind. Noon, I had more green tea. I began making my matcha for my ritual with coconut milk. I was watching the snake tanks, and then I started watering them, and I placed 5/5 portal energy into their water so they can receive their own blessings. That's when I also received responses from my father and stepmother. They deserve to hear it. I'm very good at communicating with my mother. She hears it a lot. Like, I appreciate her and she knows it, but I don't say it enough to my father and my stepmother. And that is something my daughter has taught me, to speak up about that aspect. Let's see here. And also, my younger sisters are teenagers, and seeing how my teenager is communicating with me, it's like I want to be around and a part of their life too. Let's see. I'm getting better at expressing my feelings more. The yoga session is bringing up how I have forgiven my past self and people in my past, but some people have changed, and now I get to see them as their healed version. So I'm also noticing the people that I am placing in the past, where now they're in the present moment, and I'm seeing them as they are. So it's interesting to kind of like dial up the perspective on people. Let's see here. Change the snake water. Did my social success, so answering people on social medias. 12:30, I walked the star pups. We took a totally new path this time. Got to see super angry dog that bit my foot. I prayed for him and he went away. That was cool. 1 o'clock, I did my workout. It went super smooth, especially for being a Monday. I also did yoga afterwards. Spirit informed me to do my sun salutations in the morning when I rise. Fed the puppies their chicken, blessed their water with the 5/5 portal. I almost ate leftovers. And there was just something that was like, no, what are you doing? You wouldn't feed this to your partner. You wouldn't feed this to the children. Why are you eating this? So it went to the puppies. 1:30 is when I had my oranges and my matcha. I began making basmati rice with 5/5 portal water. And I noticed I was full and I hadn't even ate all of the orange. So that was cool. 2:25, my mom called me during her break. It was so nice to hear from her and that she thought of calling me while she had her mini break. While I was talking to her on the phone, I cooked up sweet potatoes with garlic, green onion, and zucchini, and I poured that in with the rice. I put on a movie for the background because I am treating myself kind, and I'm like, hey, it's a Monday. We can have some movie in the background, and it was Paul. Oh my gosh, so hilarious. 3:17, did the cosmic reading for the day on TikTok. It was all about misinterpreting beliefs, and it also brought up the diamond path. So we're getting a lot of crossover in the readings, meditation, yoga, and shedding a cycle, and also being aware of what comforts you now versus what comforted you in the past. Oh, excuse me. 4:09 is when I did my Reiki thought of the day. You are a conduit for universal energy. So a time I felt greater than myself. I'm smiling because I've been in a lot of strange out-of-body vehicle crashes, whether it was me being hit, which I mentioned earlier, or the last crash, which technically wasn't a crash. The brakes went out of our new Ram, and I was crossing a busy highway, couldn't brake, and sure enough, there's a semi, and I began calling and talking with universe. I was on the phone with my ex, and I know there was a lot of lower vibrations, and literally the truck landed in the grass. I got out because I also had Pono. Pono was such a tiny puppy, and he got a nick in his eyebrow, and I was like, okay. Get out of the truck to have a male stranger hug me and say, oh my God, you're not dead. You're alive. And that's when I realized something. Universe interfered. I had a hubcap from the semi in the bed of my truck. Nothing was wrong with my truck. I was placed gently in the grass, but the people behind the semi called the ambulance because they saw me hit the semi and they thought I was gone. So for them to see the truck intact and I was there was something miraculous. I feel as though that is when I realized I am a rainbow warrior. That is when I realized I have my rainbow body. I've had multiple vehicle crashes where they just don't add up. They don't make sense. And I know if you look up rainbow body, you'll see what I'm talking about. A lot of quantum transporting. It wasn't until later that day that I really understood what had happened. I went into a shamanic journey and I could see my higher selves had me. And it was very, very angelic. And each time I had experienced an accident like that was my higher self attempting to get my spirit into my body more because of how uncomfortable my spirit is in my body. And now through my business, I work with a lot of other beings that have autism, and understanding how difficult it is to be a soul, to be a spirit within this physical body, especially if it's one of your first times reincarnating as a human. It can be hard to adjust. It can be hard to understand that you're controlling this physical body, and it is a part of your soul contract now. So yeah, that's what I have to say about that. Had a lovely day at youngest softball, and now we're about to end our day. Thank you so much for following me on my journey. I love you guys. I appreciate you. My name's Evan Ryu. I'm a galactic shamanic practitioner at Cosmic Energy and Spiritual Wellness. If you are wanting to only view the Reiki highlights, check out the TikTok channel where I only provide the Reiki highlights. That is Galactic Wisdom Way Shore. Love you guys.